Okay, so in this video, picking up on the journey series, as I haven't done one of those in quite some time, and was just kind of going through actually some of my YouTube comments as I have this one video, and maybe you just came from watching that video about this is the reason you need to move away from your hometown. And it was kind of like a breakout video. It's constantly getting views, which I love YouTube for that. YouTube's just why I'm so drawn to this platform. And I'm just so drawn to creating content because as much as there's so many people out there creating content, there's still clearly a need for more people to share their story and share their experience as raw as it gets, you know? And I really like when people comment and kind of share a bit of their story, a little glimpse into their world, because they feel compelled through what I've just shared about my life. And because my account's small, you know, at the time of this recording, I only have like 100 and some odd subscribers. But that video has gotten a ton of comments, and a lot of people like come on and, you know, they'll give me glimpses. I always try to comment back and like give my 2 cents if they're asking for it. I'm just really drawn to creating content and documenting more. I've just never put a foundation in place or a system in place to hold, you know, either me accountable or allow myself to create on an ongoing basis. And so, I just wanted to shoot this video because I plan on thinking about that more tomorrow and on Saturday, just coming up to the end of this week. And I'm in an interesting position in my life right now where like there is a transition coming up. I don't know when, I don't know what that looks like, but based off of what I'm currently doing to what I where I want to go long term, there needs to be some sort of pivot or next step in my life. And so to get into it, and before I dive any deeper, for any of those that don't know me, my name is Cam Russell. I live here in Vancouver, BC, Canada. I am 24 now, and the reason I start off with all those and not like a title or something is because I really don't feel like I've found that footing. And what I've really honed in on out of anything is like growth in all areas. So I'm really drawn to building things and growing businesses. I've done that a few times with a tech startup called TrueFan. They're now called Surf. You know, I left because of issues between the leadership team and myself. But I have nothing but love and respect for those guys. As much as it was a rocky time at that, there was some amazing growth that I helped them with early on. Took it from 0 to 30,000 NMRR in the midst of COVID, and then I've done door to door, generated multi six figures door to door. Definitely wasn't a superstar by any means, but definitely got in the game, chipped my teeth, quote unquote. I don't think that's the saying. And then I've helped a car dealership really like ramp up their marketing like crazy, 5x their CPL, dropped their CPL by 5, went from $125 down to about $25 CPL. So I don't have a crazy track record like some of these like 0.0001% marketers. I don't feel like I've lined myself up with the right opportunity or right offer yet, which I think has a lot to do with it. There's a saying by Warren Buffett. It doesn't matter as much about how hard you row as much as it does, and I butchered it, as much as it does the boat you're in. Okay, so it's not about how hard you row, but the boat you're in. And basically what that means is the opportunity in the vehicle in which you are using to get somewhere matters a lot of the time, a lot more than how much work you're putting into it. Okay, so that is part of the reason where I'm at right now and where I'm trying to go is the vehicle that I'm currently in that I thought was going to be a really good vehicle has kind of short-sighted my my path. And now I'm in this what do I do next? Because I've had this track record. So I don't know if any of you guys have had this, but I've had this track record of not sticking with something. And partly because early on I just really wanted to I just wanted to go and do a bunch of things, and part of it was discipline. Not to say it was all because I wanted to try a bunch of stuff. Part of it was discipline. Part of it was I wasn't willing to put in the work. But mind you, it was when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, and I had a very cushy home life, family life, which allowed for me to do that and not think much of my consequences of sticking with something or not sticking with something. Because, and again, I won't get into that in this video. But with that being said, I've really started to crave this desire to do one thing and stick with it long term. And I've never done that in my life. And I shouldn't say I've never done that in my life. It's starting to show up more as I obviously want that. And for example, my current relationship with my girlfriend has been the longest I've been with a woman in general. Arguably, again, I'm still very young. I'm only 24, but that's been going on 2+ years now, and that's never happened. So there's that, and then every job and opportunity has been going longer and longer and longer. So with TrueFan, I was there for a year and a half. And then now with Your Story, I've been them a year and 2 months. And so these things are starting to get longer, but there's nothing that I've been put in where A, I really see myself in it long term, and then B, I've been in it long term, So, because with Your Story, basically to catch up from where I was last time, I think in the journey video, the last one was I moved out to Vancouver, BC, from Peterborough, Ontario, which is near Toronto, for anyone not watching it in Canada. And I'm head of growth here at Your Story right now. We've been doing some cool things, lots of great projects. We doubled revenue from 2020 to 2021. We're on track to double again from 2021 to 2022. And so lots of good things, but the direction between the three of us has very much changed, and we've been very open about it between the three of us, and they know where my sentiment stands on this, so I'm not hiding anything or revealing anything, so I should say, by talking about this. But the other two partners, Colin and Braden, wanted to stick with video because, again, they love doing that, and that is their path. Like, that's their everything. They're gonna do that for the rest of their life, and it's just not where I see myself at all. And so I see video as a very powerful tool, but the way we approach it in the service we offer, I don't want to be confined to just doing that, because I very much want to provide value to someone and create for someone, and by not being able to do that very much limits me, and I think limits my how I operate, because I do like I mentioned at the start of this video, building. So I've been in this weird stage where I'm still working away for Your Story, and it's been cool, and it's been fun working with Colin and Braden. But at the same time, in the back of my mind, and more so recently in this past week, it's kind of been festering a little bit more, in the sense of what am I gonna do next? My girlfriend's coming back out here soon. We're gonna be moving in together. I'm trying to think about how to really position myself for the long term, set myself up with some sort of asset creation, where whatever I do put my mind towards, I'm building something that can either be sold or lived off of, in the sense of in some sort of passive capacity, not because I want to sit on my ass and do nothing, but I want to build some sort of foundation that allows me to continue to question deeper into life and not stay on the narrow and shallow path of just living month to month. And not to say that I'm living month to month by any means, but I really don't feel right now that I'm able to go really deep on things because I'm still worried about the business. You know, we're paying ourselves well, but it's like if all three of us just didn't do anything for a month, a lot of it would, you know, maybe not the first month, maybe not the second month, but it wouldn't be too long until the cash ceases to exist or dries up, the deals dries up. And so when we are at Your Story, it's still very much like an active role, and which is fine. I have no problem doing that, but I want to be able to put myself in a position where I can build something and be okay with taking a week off, a month off, 2 months off, and just really go deep on life, and just whether that's like studying and doing a lot of research for myself and crafting some skills outside of business, because my two areas where I really see, and the third that's kind of popped up as I've continued to be in this relationship with my girlfriend, is relationships. So there's relationship, there's the health side of it, the like health and mindset. So I guess you could call it wisdom a bit. There's like the health side, the mindset side, the business, and then relationships. And all of those are kind of like on the growth side, you know, like I really like the idea of how can you grow? How can you problem solve is what it really comes down to. Oh, there's a problem. Okay, how do you solve it and overcome it to grow? All right, to evolve. And that's very much intrigued me. And so I want to be able to dive deeper into different areas of that and just submerge myself to start to hone in some of those skills and put together a more of a foundation to how I think on some of this stuff. Because that's a big, you know, on the business side, I think I've developed it the most because that's where I've put the most of my time. Is I do think you should have some sort of philosophy, some sort of thesis, a framework or a system on how you operate in each domain, and really live by that and own that, and not let, you know, other people's thoughts and values continue to override you, but rather stay very firm. And maybe you change different parts of your framework or different parts of your thesis or your philosophy on that area of life, but I think for the most part you should work towards building your own take in each area and how you live and how you operate when it comes to relationships, when it comes to money and finance, and eventually when it comes to raising kids, and when it comes to building businesses, and when it comes to your mindset and how you handle your health. And that comes into workouts, that comes into your social life, that comes into your nutrition, all of these things. And in the noisy world that we live in, if you don't have some sort of foundation, some sort of belief system, again, I'm using a lot of synonyms here, but it all comes down to like a set of principles that you abide by and operate on in each domain of life, you know? So you have your career, you have your relationship, you have money, you have health, you have wisdom, you have your mindset, you have social leadership. I think those are the main ones. If you don't have any kind of like core principles that you use to like make decisions on and operate by, again, in this noisy world, you're going to be constantly dragged by other people's selling points, really, because everyone just wants you to do what they're doing to make them feel validated that what they're doing is right. Not everyone, but like a lot of people do that. It's like, oh, do this so you further validate that what I'm doing is right. And by default, whether they flat out are saying that, whether they consciously think that or not, a lot of the time that's kind of how the world operates, right? And you look at religions, like there's tons of religions. Why are people so hateful to other religions? Well, it's because you're not in my religion, you're invalidating my thesis on how I should be living. Hence, you know, I should be angry at you, this other person. And so that's not what I'm trying to say. I'm just trying to say, if you don't have something that you believe in and a set of principles that you're abiding by, then you're always going to have these contradicting principles that are going to be propping up your life in areas of your life. So all I was trying to say is, going back to where I'm thinking, working at Your Story, it's not going to be something that I'm doing long term based off of the direction of the business and how we're operating, because I don't want to be just producing videos for the rest of my life. That's not my passion. I think video is an amazing tool from a business standpoint, hence what I'm doing right now. But it's a different kind of video. It's storytelling, it's high production, it's video production, and it's not something that I want to do. It's very much, I really want to take a more holistic approach. And so I'm trying to find out, how can I set myself up to still earn and still live comfortably, especially when I have now my girlfriend come and we move in together, and I want to make sure that we're both good. You know, she's got an amazing thing going on with her physio, she's figuring herself out. And so how can we both be good, and then allow myself to really dive deep into these areas that I want to dive into, and really take the time to build a foundation up, almost like my own Bible, my own, guiding principles, get that documented and start to really live those as much as I am, but live them, document them, share them, get feedback, tweak them, and build up a community around that. Because deep down, my long-term thing that I really want to do, and I've shared this maybe 1 or 2 times here, is I want to lead. I just have this burning desire deep down that I've had to suppress, because I don't know how to do that right now without really showing up in areas to a higher degree. And what I mean by that is, like, I want to go and do stuff before I come and lead. And I'm starting to find ways that I can do that without having to have a huge track record. But I have a deep desire to go and lead eventually. And I know why that is. I've always wanted a bigger brother when I was younger, and I never had a bigger brother. And so that kind of created this void in me that I'm trying to fill, that I want to go and be that bigger brother to other individuals. Is ironic because I am a bigger brother to my sister. And maybe that, just as me saying that, maybe that is also why, because I don't feel like I ever showed up to her, because I was always looking for a bigger brother, never saw myself as a bigger brother. That's interesting. That just came into my mind. And so I do eventually I really enjoy listening to people's problems and helping them solve them if I can. It's not always that I can, but I get a lot of fulfillment out of that. And I know long term I want to be able to share what I've been able to go and do, and continue what I'm experiencing, and I want to be able to share that and help others kind of not suffer. I see a lot of people suffering out of not knowing how to not suffer, right? Which sounds funny, but yeah. So anyways, just felt the need to shoot this because I keep seeing these messages pop up on my YouTube, and I'm drawn to creating more content. I'm drawn to creating content in general, which I really hope I can continue to do this and build more of a framework that I can commit to, because I've said that many times, and I feel a bit, quite frankly, embarrassed myself because I say that so many times. And I am working on something. I am working on that as a human, to watching what I say, unless I know that I can commit to it. And I've been very loose with my words and my commitments in the past. And I think that actually burns you a lot. That if you yourself don't respect your words, why would others? And so if you need to, first and foremost, when you say something, that means you're going to do it. So anyways, something I'm working on, but yeah, wanted to just shoot this video because I am drawn to this. There is this pulling inside of me that I want to talk. I want to put my thoughts out there, my experiences out there. I don't even need to say I'm not perfect. That's a given. But I'm not where I want to be. But I don't think like there's ever going to be a point where you get there. And I think that's the point. You know, you never get there. So if you're never going to get there, then you might as well start now. And there's always going to be someone a couple steps, you know, behind you, which I've seen in these comments. And there's always going to be people steps ahead of you. And you know, if you're open and honest about that with yourself and who you're communicating to through channels like this and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok and whatever, I think A, people respect it a lot more, and then B, you can't set yourself up to feel like an imposter. Because if you're like, listen, like, I don't know everything, but here's some of the experiences I have had. Here's some interesting observations I have come across and thought of. I think coming from that approach reduces the expectations that you set on yourself to create. And then it also makes it a much more enjoyable process to say, hey, this is just what's going on. So yeah, there's a 21-minute journey video, long one. And I know, I actually don't know. I had no idea what I was going to say there, but I think I was going to say, I know these will get shorter if the frequency picks back up. However, I did just want to shoot this more so for myself, because sometimes, you know, you got to shoot this for yourself and just get yourself moving again and talking and getting ideas out there. So, which feels really good. If you enjoyed these, if you've enjoyed any of my other videos, if you resonate with anything specifically, please let me know. And I'll take that into consideration as I think about how I want to go approach content, approach everything that I just kind of spoke on. So give me a subscribe if I kind of resonate with you, resonate with what you're going through. I'd love to be able to communicate more of my thoughts, more of my observations and experiences to you. If you found this one valuable, I'm sure you'll find other ones valuable. So till next time, guys, stay learning, stay moving, and stay well.